Selamat sejahtera dan selamat sepupu. Sepupus, the history of delusional past leaders is long and it is distinguished. Beyond eyes like ours, skin like ours, sepupu, there is a brand new generation of fresh young blood that just casually continues this good old past race baiting and now is telling a good old classic lie that apparently Malaysia is an Islamic country. Even as this whole car accident that Zaharuddin Muhammad is going through at the moment is unfolding itself in slow motion, now you have someone like Zuhdi, Marsuki coming out, being a friend. But you know, sometimes with some friends, who needs enemies? Right after the whole drama where Hadi Awang's son-in-law goes out and makes his racist statement, this guy literally comes in and then starts, ooh, maybe the government should put regulations to make sure that the people who lead the country are all Muslim. Since we are an Islamic state, shouldn't there be some regulations? And I'm like, bruh. Here's some facts for you, Sepupu. Malaysia is not an Islamic state. It has never been since independence, not before, and to the extent that Malaysia is a viable country, we do not want it to be. You would think to yourselves that after all of this apologizing and Taqiyuddin distancing himself from Zaharuddin and these people just continue their fitnah. The way that they are behaving is kind of like you die in a video game and then you keep on dying exactly the same way and they never learn. Which also means that if you're gonna go insist, lie, and distort the nature of our country and you end up winning your way, people should all migrate out of Malaysia, destroy your entire country, your economy and everything that you love because you are out there insisting on slandering, telling lies about what this nation was actually founded on. Look, it's not super controversial that Malaysia could be considered a quote-unquote Muslim country in the sense that a sizable proportion of the population are Muslim. There are Muslim country lists that you can literally find online. But that is fundamentally different, excuse the pun, from an Islamic state. It is the religion of the Federation per Article 3. But see, that's the thing about jokers like these. They never actually consider the context. Just look at the justification that this joker goes right ahead and gives. He refers to Article 3.1 of the Constitution about how Islam is a religion of the Federation, which it is, of course, but conveniently ignores the fact that when Tunku Abdul Rahman and the framers of the Constitution, a la the Reid Commission, came up with the Constitution, they were very clear in saying that Islam as a religion of the Federation did not in any way imply that Malaysia would be an Islamic state. In fact, Tunku Abdul Rahman was very clear that it would be a secular state. That was the intention right along the way. Now, of course, some of these people, they just don't care about this. They just want to go out there and push their ways into declaring that, oh no, politics can never be separated from religion. We are so amazing. We need to make sure this goes true. And that's where people like Tun Mahathir come in with his 929 declaration at a Gerakan event where he declares that in fact, Malaysia is an Islamic state and then declares that in fact it is not just an Islamic state, it is a fundamentalist Islamic state. Wow. Truly amazing. Also truly amazing, by the way, that just barely 12 years later, the very same Mahathir is declaring that Malaysia is actually not a secular state, it's not an Islamic state, it is neither, it is an ordinary state. Now, is it because he changed his mind? I would guess that, no, it's not because he changed his mind, it's because he realized the truth, which pretty much everyone does end up realizing along the way when they try to pursue this question. We can go into all sorts of nonsense, go into Che Omar versus public prosecutor or any number of meta-analyses. We can even go into that stupid book about how Malaysia is the Negara Islam and all of those conditions out there. But the fact is, if we go back to the very fundamental of things, Islam was meant to have a ceremonial role. That is the role, that is all the role is, and if we want, then we can go ahead and test it out with what Wael Halak proposed in his articulation of what we call the impossible state. Basically, if it is true that religious law cannot overturn secular law, then in that case, it is fair to say that Malaysia is not an Islamic state, which generally it doesn't. And if our friendly neighborhood Walaun wanted to use the idea of Negara Islam in a very specific sense, then maybe he should go ahead and define what he actually means instead of using vague terms and then just trying to use them to justify every single thing being Islamic. You have to use Islamic foreign policy, Islamic this, Islamic that, Islamic everything. Hello! Do you not understand, Walaun, that this is a diverse country? There are people of different religions here who do not practice what you practice. Lakum dinukum waliyadin. Get that through. Your extremely thick skull covered by your thick kopiah, which in turn conceals your very tiny brain. So tiny to the point that if you actually understood what I was saying in English right now, I would frankly be shocked. But you know, a big part of lakum dinukum waliyadin is that you respect what other people believe. As Lee Kuan Yew once said,
there are fundamental primeval differences
in the way that you live in the world, the way that you eat, the way that you believe things. As long as you don't interfere with me, as long as we live in our own separate realms. But then, if we want to hang out, we want to spend time together, then we have no problem with going ahead and doing that because that is part of a diverse society. Then that's great. You know, like, we live together, we enjoy our time together. It's very simple, very understandable, and we should do more of that. But you know, every single time I see all of these unemployed people going out there and saying,
kita tak akan khianat dan zalim orang-orang bukan Melayu ataupun orang-orang bukan Islam kalau yang berkuasanya ialah dari kalangan orang Islam.
Kalau tidak, umat Islam akan tertindas. And then they just casually go out there and then like liken themselves to being part of Palestine, and then just that they must be in power, otherwise they will be oppressed, not realizing that a lot of the corruption in this country cannot be explained away by people being of the wrong religion. And in fact, a lot of corruption exists despite the fact that a lot of the rulers in this country are actually Muslim as well. And that this whole culture of fitna, lies and everything else came about as a result of PAS just using its wonderful moral, behavioral guidance along the way, even as the president said that secularism is a worse sin than murder and fitna. Wow. Lovely. Well, it's either they don't realize or they just don't care and they somehow feel that they need to be going out there and protecting their religion. I mean, how much protecting do you need when almost all of the institutions of your country are run by Malays who are constitutionally Muslim? You have billions of ringgit every year for your moral religious policing, halal certification, Islamic finance, most sophisticated in the world. And so my question is, in such a situation, do you need to either show that you don't know how to read history or to literally flat out lie about the constitution because you want to so-called protect your religion? But see, unfortunately, you have a lot of these like 2-bit losers out there who will just continually go out and then try to defend and try to allegedly say that you must have my religion be supreme while saying the word secular doesn't appear in the constitution, while trying to have their religion reign as if that were important, as if that would earn any respect for you, especially when you're going out and acting in such a way that people lose all respect, not necessarily for the religion, but for every single follower of the religion in the entire country because of your lies and your fitnah. You know, Zakir Naik once answered a question from someone who asked why the Dawah effort was going so slowly in Malaysia, and he said, I didn't come to Malaysia to do your job. But another thing that he said was very interesting also. He said,
there is Dawah being done. It is not zero, but it should increase. And the best way is you have to be good examples to your Chinese brothers and sisters. You have to be a good example to your Hindu brothers and sisters. If you're a good example, they love you.
Lakum dinukum waliyadin, by the way. This is not an invitation for you to say you're stupid, semoga mendapat hidayah, or I hope that you receive wisdom. I don't care. Lakum dinukum waliyadin.
You know, if you are just a good person, if you behave good naturally, then people will naturally want to find out what you are learning about, what you care about, and everything out there. Well, the fact that the da'wah effort is slow shows how much people want to emulate your community at the moment. The answer is not very much. Everything in this world does not come free. If you want to go out there and you want to start lying to people everywhere while trying to assert your ketuanan privilege and then imagining that people have to go along with your drama, lie, fitnah while you declare that you are supreme, you are not going to get people to respect you. And if you want people to respect you, then maybe you should begin by respecting the foundations of this country.
Oh, whoops. Too late.
Respect the fact that we have a constitution. Respect the fact that, yes, Islam is the religion of the Federation, but that does not give you the right to go out there and say that this religion should determine every single aspect of our foreign policy, every aspect of how we live in this world, because that is not true. At the end of the day, your irrational saber rattling saying that people who are not Muslims should not even rise to positions of power is insensitive, ridiculous, and frankly, one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my entire life, and is a reason for all the Malaysian people, including your own children, to betray you, reject you at the ballot, and if somehow for some mysterious reason you end up winning the election, for the entire international community to go out and crush you where you are, where you stand, right here and right now. This is not a game, by the way, Sepupus. There are these people out there who want to lie, who want to deceive people about what Malaysia is and what it is not, and they want somehow to rule over you with their low quality administration, sumbang mahram, teh tarik water, and drug-addicted state administration experience while proclaiming that they are the ones to bring a peaceful era onto the earth when they cannot even settle their own children's milk powder without lying to you. This is their tortured legacy. This is what they are. Liars with no actual backing, and they should be seen for what they are. Conclusion: this country is not an Islamic state. It was not when this country was founded. It is not now. And if these people want to go out there and continue gaslighting us, then they should pay the price for it. Alright, that's all to say about that, and bye.